Hello everyone. Welcome to the Yale Center for British Art online series, Artists in Conversation. I'm Margaret Spillane. I teach art criticism in the English department at Yale University, and I am delighted to welcome artist Natalie Frank, 2002 Yale College graduate, into the program today. And I'd also like to thank Jane Noah-Sadko and Linda Payne, who are the brains behind this online series. Before we start, a few housekeeping notes. Please note that this program will be recorded. Your camera and sound are muted and will remain so throughout the program. We will be using the Q&A feature that's located on your navigation bar to gather your questions for Natalie. They will be answered at the end of the program, but please feel free to submit your questions at any time. If you would like closed captioning, a live transcript is available by clicking the icon on your navigation bar. So let me tell you a few things about Natalie Frank. Natalie Frank is an interdisciplinary artist whose drawings, paintings, and work in performance design focus on the intersection of sexuality and violence in feminist portraiture. Her work is marked by disturbing and explicit subject matter, and it often blurs lines between reality and fantasy. The late Portuguese-British artist Paula Rego was a mentor to Frank. During a friendship that spanned 20 years, Rego inspired Frank to begin to create her first series entitled Grimm's Tales, which further investigated the fairy tales collected and recorded by the brothers Grimm. In 2019, Ballet Austin in Texas commissioned the production of Grimm Tales, a full-length ballet based on Frank's drawings. Frank has participated in numerous solo shows and group exhibitions. Her work may be found in museum collections throughout the country, including the Yale University Art Gallery. Natalie lives and works in New York City. So welcome, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Margaret. I'm so happy to be doing this together. And thank you, Jane and Linda, and the Yale Center for British Art. Your institution has always held a very special place in my memory and time at Yale as well. I think my boyfriend in college and I had the distinction of being the only two Americans to have shown work in the Yale Center for British Art, which I think may not ever happen again after our experience. It was great fun.
Well, before you show us some work, Natalie, I wanted to ask a question, because you had a really extensive experience drawing before you ever got to Yale. So by the time you were excuse me, by the time you were a senior, your own drawing skills were at a very high level. And that same year, you met Paula Rego. And that connection added some radical ways of seeing to your skill set. So could you talk to us about that first encounter with Rego and also about the 20-year conversation that you two conducted?
Absolutely. I will begin the slideshow. This is a picture of Dame Paula Rego. And we met, as Margaret mentioned, I started nude figure drawing when I was about 12. I went to a woman's garage in Texas with my mother, and we drew a couple times a week at night after school from the nude model. And then I began to study in London at the Slade when I was 15. During summers, I would live abroad, 15 and 17, and again at 19. And so when I came to Yale, I had quite a bit of experience with life drawing and life painting. But it wasn't until I met Paula that I really met an artist who was drawing from her imagination. And I think that was one of the biggest gifts that she gave to me and inspired me through her own work and dedication in working from literature. And we met because she was part of an exhibition of the School of London and their friends, a collection of Elaine and Melvin Marian's, which was in 2001. So I was a junior in college. And my boyfriend and I at the time were standing in the lobby of the Yale Center for British Art, and he had a flask of scotch, and she saw us taking a nip of scotch and came over and said, "Hi, I'm Paula Rego. I'm very nervous for my talk. Could I please have some?" And so we gave her some scotch. And I told her I was an artist and I was very earnest, as I think I still am. And I had pictures of my work that I had wanted to show her. And so I started to show her some images of my paintings and drawings. And she said, you know, after the talk, why don't you come up and join us in the director's lounge and we can talk some more? It would be nice to continue the conversation, which is what we did. And I remember she was an agoraphobic. So she really had a lot of anxiety about being in crowds and out in public. And she and I sat in the corner and talked for quite a long time at her own reception about painting and drawing and narrative and literature. And she gave me her address. And so for the next 20 years, we would visit in my studio when she came to New York, a lot in her studio when I was in London. We would never leave the studio because, again, she really didn't like to be out in crowds. So I would go to her studio, we would have lunch, we would talk about art. She would show me what she was doing. Sometimes we would go and see art together. And it was a friendship that spanned 2 decades and inspired my work with drawing. Interestingly enough, at the exact age that she began to draw, she started out working in oil and acrylic. And when she was about 40 years old, started this series of dog women, which I remember seeing in the exhibition at the Yale Center for British Art. And I had never seen women portrayed this way, so raw, so direct, so expressive, with almost all elements stripped away except for the power of their bodies and faces. This is from her abortion series, which actually led to a change in the laws in Portugal for abortion. This is from her fairy tale series, which was a tremendous influence on my own work with the Grimm's fairy tales. And so it was in one of our last visits before she became ill in her studio that she said to me, I'm not going to get around to doing the Grimm's fairy tales, but you should. And I had never done a dedicated series of drawings before. I had never drawn from my imagination. Again, I had only worked from life. And at the time, I was making large-scale paintings. And it was upon her advice that I went on Amazon and ordered the first book I found, which was Jack Sipes' Tales of the Brothers Grimm, the unsanitized stories from the 19th century that all belong to women that began as women's oral and literary tales. And it was on one of those last visits to her studio that she said, "Natalie, take your clothes off, put this on." And she handed me this black Victorian dress. And I never asked any questions. I sort of did what she told me to do. And so I ended up posing for her for about half hour. She drew. Then we had lunch and we visited. And about, I'd say 6 months later, she sent me this lithograph. And she had drawn me into her Jane Eyre series, holding up Jane Eyre to be inspected by Mr. Rochester. And then a couple of months after that, I got another package, and this print had been made into a British postage stamp. And in true Paula Rego fashion, the women were made into first-class stamps, and the men were made into second-class stamps. So that's me looking menacing on a stamp. So when I met Paula, shortly thereafter, I graduated from Yale. I went to work at the Met for the curator of modern contemporary art, Dr. Nan Rosenthal, who was the Jasper Johns Robert Rauschenberg Scholar at the time, who brought the white flag into the museum. After I was painting at night in my apartment, I applied for Fulbright to go to Oslo. I was very interested in Edvard Munch. So I went there for a year, made a series of paintings in Oslo that I showed for the Fulbright, and then used to get into a graduate school. So I came back to New York and went to Columbia for my MFA. And as I was finishing school, this is what I was making. So, and this was about 8 feet. So large scale, narrative, figurative paintings, I think it heavily informed by my background in life drawing and painting. And so I'll flip through some of the images I was making at the time, this was about 2006, 7, and I had my first big show in New York at Mitchell Innes and Nash, right out of school. And so I painted for years, and this is probably about up to 2009. I went and spent some time in dungeons with dominatrices and submissives. I was always very interested in Paula's work because there's this underlying tension of brutality and beauty. And those were two things I always wanted in my work, because to me, that felt like a very accurate representation of what it feels like to be a woman. So this is an image from the dungeons. And this is the kind of drawing I had been doing that was imaginative, fairly drawn from imagination, but obviously related to some political and social things that were going on in graduate school. But again, I didn't have a drawing practice. And so it was after the visit with Paula, I began to do the Grimms. I kind of did them in secret at my mom's house in Nova Scotia, in this old barn that's turned into an art studio. And I did them for a few years or a few summers, and showed them to Claire Gilman at the Drawing Center, who has just been such a sense of support in the past decade. And she said, we should do a show. And so the show at the Drawing Center ended up looking at the unsanitized Grimm tales from 1812 to 1857. And I knew I wanted to put a book together. I needed also the rights to the translations. Jack Sipes is one of the foremost fairy tale scholars in the world, and a German scholar. And he had translated these stories from German in the late 1980s. And so the reason we really aren't that familiar with the unsanitized versions are because they're relatively recent in terms of translation. And so I ended up doing 75 drawings, looking at the tales and putting a book together that was highly drawn. And I consider them drawings, not illustrations. And I went to every book publisher, and they all said, no, it would be too expensive, too big. You're not famous enough. And eventually DAP, the main art book distributor in the United States, took the book on and found me an Italian publisher who is also a master printer, Damiani. And so I managed the book project from beginning to end, and put together the budget and an editor and a production person and a designer, and then commissioned essays and interviews. Linda Nochlin wrote one of the last essays she would write, which was incredibly meaningful to me, the feminist art historian. I did a conversation with Julie Taymor, and then the curator of the exhibition, Claire Gilman, from the Drawing Center, wrote an essay. And so I went on press in Bologna. It was kind of an amazing experience, and one that would set me off on the next 10 years of book publishing and working with literature. So these are some of the drawings. This is the Bremen Town musicians, the juniper tree. And again, these were all stories that began with women and were passed down orally through the centuries, which is why they're so short. And the brothers Grimm were philologists, so they were very interested in language. They were putting together encyclopedias and dictionaries. So they actually had the women from all over Germany come to them, and they compiled these stories, wrote them down, changed them for poetics, and put their name on them. And so in our book, Jack and my book, we restored the families of the original women who told the story so that their authorship would be honored. And Jack was phenomenal. I wrote to him and said, I'm interested in putting this book together. Can I use your translations? And he said, why don't you send me your work and your thoughts about the project? And if this is something I believe in, I'll help you as much as I can. And so he ended up providing the translations, new translations, and also writing an introduction. And I remember sent me a bibliography of probably a couple hundred books to read that set me off on this course of working with fairy tales. So this was the cover of the book. Marion Banshees is the incredible designer I've been working with. Each fairy tale had its own title page, and border that repeated. So it was a tremendous amount of drawings ran throughout the book. All of the marginalia, it's really wonderful, is at the Brooklyn Museum, along with a few sets of drawings. So after that book, I said to Jack, what's next? And he said, you know, I want to do this book on the Sorcerer's Apprentice. And this book traced this tale type of the Sorcerer's Apprentice, both the rebellious apprentice and the humiliated apprentice, through 2,000 years of literature. So it went from Ovid up to current day literature, and through Hermann Hesse, the Brothers Grimm. And of course, this tale type has been popularized in things like Harry Potter, Fantasia. But it's a really interesting sociological, political, historical look at how different centuries adapt their stories to their geography and their time and place. And what I found interesting about this collection of stories translated from a dozen languages is that after Christianity, the women had been the shapeshifters before Christianity, but after Christianity, that idea of women changing shape became too threatening. So the women were excised and sublimated into these kind of accessory characters. But I chose to focus on the women. And I was always thinking of Paula because she always told women's stories. Whatever literary source she drew from, she focused on the female bodies, and often the men would be caricatured. And I always photograph women. I light and dress them for imagery, and then the men are often more imagined or made up. So this next project was something I wanted to look at some contemporary literature. And this is based on the story of O, the erotic S&M novel from the 1950s that was written under a pseudonym by a woman to prove that women had erotic imaginations. And she wrote this book to intellectually seduce her lover. She was at the publishing house Gallimard, as was her lover. They were very prominent people. And so she kept her identity secret for 40 years and finally revealed her name as the author in 1954 in the New Yorker in her 90s. And when this book was published, it was immediately banned. It caused a sensation in the feminist sex wars. It was burnt at Columbia. And it's always been one of my favorite books. So it follows a woman named O, who you see here, and she goes to a chateau with her lover and has many experiences with men and women and multiple men and multiple women and older and younger, and ultimately learns about herself and her own desires. And I made a book for this exhibition with an interview with someone from the New Yorker to kind of honor that past, and with a lot of history about the book. And it was really interesting because this project was just at the beginning of Me Too. And I had just written an essay for Art News for women artists, the art world can be a minefield. And it was right after publishing that essay about my decade of sexual harassment in the art world that the female dealer who was meant to show these works told me that my show would be canceled, that my drawings would traumatize women. As you can see, there is no genitalia, no sex, no pornography. And I pointed her to the book and Susan Sontag's essay that actually used the story of O to talk about the difference between art and pornography. But she would hear nothing of it. So it was moved to Half Gallery in New York. And back then, Bill Powers, who was leading it, took over the space of Upper East Side Mansion. And so alongside the drawings, which really focus on women's pleasure and play, I made this wallpaper with flavor paper from my drawings that Marion designed, and it filled the townhouse. And so the drawings were shown in this domestic environment on top of the wallpaper. So this leads into the next project, which was a mural that I did for New York Live Arts with the artist Zoe Buckman. And we took quotes from politicians of Republicans and Democrats, but obviously mostly Republicans, that they had quotes that they had said about women and their bodies. Some girls, they rape so easy. Rape is kind of like the weather. If it's inevitable, just relax and enjoy it. And on the right side, we presented mugshots and identifiers of everyone who had said these quotes, including Donald Trump. So this was installed at New York Live Arts in the run-up to the election with Trump, and then moved to the Corcoran, which is this picture. And it was also installed on a billboard opposite the White House. So next, the man on my left, Stephen Mills, who's head of Ballet Austin, had seen my show at the Blanton. So our Grimm's exhibition traveled to the Blanton and the University of Kentucky Art Museum. And we became fast friends. And at some point, he called me and he said, we've just received a big gift, a very generous gift, and we'd like it to collaborate with contemporary artists. Would you like to be the first one? And I said, this is like better than a marriage proposal. Absolutely. And so we adapted the Grimm's fairy tales into a ballet. And so we chose 3 stories, The Frog King, The Juniper Tree, and Snow White. And my drawings became projections, double rear projections. I worked with a team that I was also able to hire my dream people who had often collaborated with Julie Taymor. So Constance Hoffmann did costumes and George Sipin did sets. And with Constance, we would sit and draw together and design the costumes. Of course, she's had a long career, as has George, doing this. So it was very generous of these artists to enable me to work beside them. And so that's Constance. All of the costumes were hand painted by a textile designer and painter who she had worked with, who worked often on Broadway, who drew based off of our drawings, which we created together. And it premiered at Ballet Austin in 2019. And it was incredible. It was my first time working and putting together a large team with a real budget, and seeing my drawings from 20 by 30 inches moving to 20 by 30 feet, and the characters I had drawn at 2 inches coming to life on the stage. And so we worked with a dramaturg, an animator, costume designer, set designer, textile designer. I hand painted all the props, including these heads you see, and the large stage set pieces, and then worked with the lighting designer, and they commissioned a new score by Graham Reynolds. And it was just an amazing experience and really whet my appetite to work more in dance and artistic direction. In our version of Snow White, there was no prince, so she ran off with all the dwarves. This is from The Juniper Tree. Frog King. And this led to my next project with Jack Sipes. I said, "What's next, Jack?" And he said, you're such a feminist. You should do these feminist fairy tales. They've never been collected, and they're out of print. And so this was the tales of Madame Delnoy, who was a 17th century French feminist fairy teller, the first woman to sign the front piece of her work, and the person who actually coined the term fairy tale. So it was a collection of her stories, proto-feminist tales that, of course, predate the Grimms by almost 200 years. And so in her version of Cinderella, who's pictured here, who actually Claire Gilman posed for this portrait, she says, "I will only marry the prince if I can stand before the whole kingdom and tell my oral history. And I want an apology from my stepsisters." This is another tale called Belle Belle, where a woman cross-dresses to save her kingdom. And at the end, she's tied to a stake before she's burnt, and her shirt is ripped open, and it's revealed she's actually a woman. And you can see the queen dying of convulsions on the right, and the king proposes marriage. So very funny, Baroque tales, very feminist, and they were literary tales, so they're all quite long. And this was a collection of about 35 drawings for this book. And it was a full color book with Princeton University Press. And so the book was designed in the style of Persian miniatures. So drawings were inset throughout the text. The next project I did, I had been working in pulp paper painting at a studio called E.T.A here in New York, which is one of the few places to keep alive the art of pulp paper painting, which is using small bits of cotton and linen paper pulp that are mixed with pigment in water by a master paper maker. And so I've worked in this medium for about 10 years. And so all of the heads of these women are made of handmade paper, and you paint with it like paint, but it's a very difficult medium because you can't actually touch the surface of what you're painting on. It's in a wet studio, and the only thing holding together the paper flecks is water. And so I made a set of 30, 40-foot wall vinyls that were made from my drawings and enlarged, and to represent women through different centuries and different types of dress, different types of women. And in the center, I showed ceramics I had made. And so the height of the wall vinyl was about 8 feet. So the women really looked down on you. And these were the paper pulp paintings. So the base sheet is cotton. You use the linen paper pulp, which is just like a colored mayonnaise, to paint on top. You can pour marble and then thin it with this stuff called methyl cellulose, which is actually a plant product which rots after 3 days. So you work on these in a wet studio, and there's just water draining. You're completely wet down to your underpants. I love it. It's very intense work. And these were the ceramics. They were all painted before the second firing. So it's all underglaze. And I had a wonderful time experimenting with this during COVID. So then I said to Jack, what are we doing next? And he said, let's do a book on E.T.A. Hoffmann. And so this is 5 tales of Hoffmann. It's this Sandman, the Nutcracker, 3 other tales. And I invited Karen Russell to write a preface. I've always admired her fiction. And I took this project to Yale University Press. So this came out last year, and it was my first project with Yale, and Marian Banshees designed it. So Hoffmann is really interesting. He invented the double in literature, the doppelganger. He invented the genre of the detective story. And so all of the imagery in the book is doubled. And also the automaton, which people will probably remember from the Sandman. And so the drawings, I wanted to replicate this strange magic realist world of Hoffmann. So they began in black and white, they went to black and white color, and then they went to full color. And there are 35 drawings in this series, all 22 by 30 inches. This is the Nutcracker. So this is an example of what pages look like. And I always think about Paula because she kept a lot of puppets and these hand-sewn dolls in her studio that she worked from for these kind of secondary figures or tertiary figures. She might say the men are the secondary characters that were a bit fantastical. And so I always think about melding, these human figures with these animal figures and this idea of shape shifting. I really think of her quite a bit because she did that so often in her work. A lot of her earlier work was monkeys vomiting and rabbits, and they were all political satires, but they were all, I think she thought of them as capturing a sense of violence and war, but through something that involved play because it felt more childlike and almost more palatable. This is from The Golden Pot, one of the Hoffmann tales. And there is a lot of shape-shifting in these stories. Something I think Paula also thought of, this idea of shape-shifting as a way for women to regain or retain power, and the idea of crossing social strata, political strata, gender constructs, where women can turn into serpents or shapeshift. And again, in the Sorcerer's Apprentice work, in the retelling of that in stories in Ovid, women were shapeshifting, but that again became too threatening. So this was a survey show I had that started at the Madison Museum of Contemporary Art in Wisconsin and went to the Kemper. And it gathered together about 50 drawings from my different series, which was really wonderful to see them all together, and replicated the story of O Room with the wallpaper, and then screened the ballet. And that was a really special show for me. So on the heels of the survey show, while I was finishing the Hoffmann book, Arion Press, who's a wonderful artist book publisher in San Francisco, came to me about drawing Edgar Allan Poe. And it was really kind of fortuitous because Poe was the generation exactly after Hoffmann and really the main descendant of Hoffmann's work. And so this was the edition we did of Edgar Allan Poe. It was 2 volumes, one on the Raven, one on his poems and short stories, for which I made black and white drawings. The drawings for the Raven were 7 color drawings. And because I'd been working in paper pulp, these men who are extraordinary at Arion Press went to the head of the Poe estate, who also wrote a foreword for the book, and took bricks from Poe's home and ground them into brick dust and made paper pulp out of them, and then cast them around a bust of Poe. And in the regular edition, my drawing of Poe is incised into the paper pulp. And so it's a stunning book. One of my next projects, I just finished a drawing for their new volume on Aesop's Fables, which is coming out in October, which will mark their 50th anniversary. And they've invited 15 artists they've worked with over the past 50 years to contribute a drawing reinterpreting Aesop. And the updated versions of the fables are being written by Lemony Snicket. And so Kara Walker's doing a drawing, Enrique Shigoya, Audrey Niffenegger, and the whole book is being designed by Kiki Smith. So if anyone's listening in San Francisco, it's going to be released on the 17th of October. There's a gala, and on the 19th, we'll be doing a conversation in San Francisco. And they're amazing. They're an amazing group of artists. So these were some of the color drawings for that book. One of which I was really excited was acquired by the Morgan, care of some really wonderful set of collectors of mine, and one to the Nasher Museum. This one went to the Nasher at Duke. And so while I was finishing those projects, I got this very strange email that said, "We've been given your name. Would you like to work on a project for Apple TV?" And I called the number immediately because I wasn't sure if it were real, but it was. And so I signed a lot of NDAs and began to work on this really interesting project for a show called The Crowded Room, which premiered on Apple about 6 months ago. And in it is Tom Holland, who's the star, and he plays a man who is loosely based on a real life person, Danny Milligan, who was the first person to get off for murder for having multiple personalities disorder, which a lot of people don't feel is real. But that's what the show is about. And so you're taken through his multiple personalities. Akiva Goldsman was a producer and showrunner. And so I worked with the director, I worked with Akiva, I worked with the cast, and I made about 20, 30 new drawings. And then they used a lot of my drawings, which you can see in the back from the different books, pulp paper paintings. I worked with the art department to design the different rooms, his studios, his childhood bedrooms, all of the sketchbooks that were used. I worked with their art department. And then I ended up being Tom Holland's hand double throughout the series. So I was the one drawing on film And then I was meant to teach Tom how to draw, who's actually was spectacular and really copied every one of my movements. It was interesting. So here he is in prison. I guess he decided to have a retrospective of my work in prison. There's his prison bed. And there he is with Amanda Seyfried, who's also in the exhibition, in the show. And so that premiered. And then I have a friend who's an opera director, and he sent me a wonderful invitation and said, I'm going to be designing Liz Phair's nationwide tour of Exile in Guyville. It'll be the last time she performs this seminal early 90s album. Would you like to design the visuals? And I said, absolutely. So this is the teaser for that.
Every time I see your face, I get all wet between my legs. Every time you pass me by, I heave a sigh of pain. Your face reminds me of a flower, kind of like your underwater hair's too long, and in your eyes your lips are perfect. Suck me size, you act like you're 14 years old. Everything you say is so obnoxious, funny, true and mean. I want to be your...
So of course, it ends with, I want to be your blowjob queen, which I don't think women said out loud in the early 90s in music. Liz Phair was a real renegade. And she was wonderful to work with. And so we began in San Diego, workshopping with her for a week where she was rehearsing with her band. We worked on lighting, set design, projections. I worked with a video editor who's not pictured here, but he and I were involved in doing all of the visuals for the 1.5, 2-hour long show. It ended up going to about 40 theaters across America. That's obviously Liz, the director of the show, is behind me, and the lighting designer. So it was a 4-person team. It came to New York, it came to the Wiltern in LA. And I thought I'd show just a few stills from this. So it was really a marriage of my drawing and video used in different types of tableaus to tell the stories that Liz wanted to tell and make them feel resonant today. We cast a young Liz Phair and a young rock star boyfriend, who are the two in the center. Liz did not want any images of her in the show. And then we also used a lot of archival footage from the 90s. So this is what the set looked like. After that project, I got another funny email that said, hi, we're doing a show called Evil, and we need a painting of the apocalypse. Kind of, we've heard you're the one to go to for disturbing art material for TV. So I made this painting with the video designer I worked with on Liz Phair, and it was animated. And the show Evil is on Paramount Plus, now streaming on Netflix. And it's by Robert and Michelle King, who did The Good Wife and The Good Fight. It's a wonderfully written show. And so in this image, the fire moves, her eyes blink, and the freeway goes through Claire Gilman's legs. Again, using a lot of drawing from the past year. So this was it in the TV show with her eyes closed on the altar. And it really kind of wraps up the whole series. And then just to end, a little glimpse of what I've been doing in the studio. I've been returning to painting. It's been about 10 years away since I was working on books and different media performances. And it's been wonderful to be back in the studio, really focusing on pared down portraiture, taking a lot of the theatricality and narrative that I think I started out working with in painting, and allowing that to exist in drawing and in media, but in painting, really focusing on the body. And these are all life size. So this is about 7 foot in person. I've been drawing friends who are artists, writers, composers, designers. So this is my friend Missy Mazzoli, the opera composer. My partner Daniel, designer, fashion designer, model, a fashion designer, Narciso Rodriguez. I won't name all the people because I'm sure a lot of people on this may recognize some people, but a lot of writers. And I wanted to capture kind of vulnerability and intimacy of people who are usually on the other side of the screen or on the lens. So that is the end of my PowerPoint.
Thank you so much. This has been great, Natalie. We've got a lot of questions to get to.
Oh, great. Okay.
May I start with someone who read a review of your Grimm's fairy tale art book in which you were quoted as saying, quote, "Drawing is like committing a murder." And the question is, can you expand on this? What murder can you get away with?
Well, I think what I meant is that I black out, I open my eyes, and the whole drawing is there. It's like people when they say I murdered, but it was out of passion and I don't remember what happened. Drawing feels very immediate. It feels like it comes from a different place. It feels very easy, very intuitive. Painting feels like a different type of process. It's one decision after another. And I work wet into wet in painting, and drawing, I work in gouache and chalk pastel. It's a lot of layering. It's a lot of intuitive mark making. The figures are drawn from imagination. So it feels like a totally different process of constructing an image.
Then we have a materials question. What draws you to pastels? The coarse, rusty textures really pop out. Were there other mediums you experimented with early on that you liked or didn't like?
No, I think I gravitated towards pastel because of Paula. I had never seen someone use pastel like you would painting, and people often call her large pastels paintings. I don't make a huge distinction between drawing and painting, but pastel is wonderful because it really sits on the surface, and I use a 300-pound rough arches paper. And so the pastel really vibrates on the surface where the gouache really sinks in. And I like that tension between the two.
Well, you were working with the wet paper in a studio where everything had to be wet all the time. And as you said, the studio environment soaked right through to your skin. You've also described painting wet on wet in oil, which has the sensory feel of moving butter around.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to have a really broad range of things that make you happy to work. And that's not always the case. Some people just can't stand the dryness of charcoal or pastel, and others can't stand the wetness of some of the processes you engage with very vigorously. Can you talk about kind of temperament and materiality?
Yeah, I think I enjoy playing with materials and kind of bending them to my will. I think learning about the way different materials can be used and interact. For instance, in pulp paper painting, the way color mixes, because color is never truly mixing, it's only optically mixing in that you have little bits of paper pulp sitting next to other bits of paper pulp. But unlike in oil paint, where if you mix red and white, you get pink, in paper pulp, it creates a different type of pink. And so learning about the way every media is special and the possibilities in every media feels very exciting to me. And I like pushing those boundaries. I don't think the people at Dieudonné had never seen someone really use paper pulp painting like oil paint, but I do. And it felt natural to me. In the same way, working in gouache and chalk pastel, which is traditionally not done because you don't mix wet and dry materials, just felt intuitive because of that spatial dissonance and resonance between what stays on top and what sinks in. So I think in all the media, including in the performance design and in making books and opera, ballet, I think different media unlock this whole other set of challenges, but also possibilities that I find really energizing.
Speaking of opera, how do you change your approach to creating art when working for an opera versus a TV show versus a museum commission?
It's a good question. I think when I started on the Grimms with Constance, I learned a lot because I was used to making drawings that people would stand 4 inches from. And when you're designing for the stage and you're designing as a secondary support where really you want people to be looking at the dancers, you can't be stealing the show. And when you're, for Liz Phair, we designed the visuals, but we had to contend with the fact that they were displayed on these this voile that was transparent, but could also become opaque, that at times the imagery would be obliterated by the lighting. We realized, there was a band and there was a musician and they were going to interrupt our imagery. And so when I'm painting or I'm drawing, I'm the author. But when I'm there making collaborative work, I'm there to support other people doing their art. And so it's very much a collaboration. So it's a very different type of participation.
Here's a question from someone who sounds as if they would like to commission you. I think your work would be incredible for the Menendez brothers' Twisted Case. True or not true? Would you consider making that into a picture book?
I guess it depends what the fee is. No, probably not. I think I'm going to take a hiatus from murder for a while. It may be good for my brand.
Another person asks, if I recall correctly, you said that you like to portray women realistically and men from the imagination. Is that an approach that aims to take down traditional representations of gender in art? Or is it also derived from a more personal and innate perspective of men and women?
Well, I'm not sure I could separate the two. I can say that we've seen so many images in art history of women like the one that's on the screen now, bearing her body, but often not looking directly at you. And one of the things I've been hearing a lot in the studio, mostly from men, is that the paintings are aggressive, confrontational, the women are so large, and they are looking so directly at you. So I think the two are certainly intertwined. Art history has tended to replicate the power dynamics in gender, not to the best service of women. And that's something I want to correct. It's something I think Paula was very passionate about. And it's why, for instance, I have a print of her fairy tale series of Polly Put the Kettle On. And it's large women serving tea to little soldiers, and they're going to be eating the little men for tea. And so I think that's it's a way of flipping the tables a bit for me.
One person says, this may be a little intrusive, but was there a particular moment when you realized that you could practice as a visual artist full time?
I think, I wonder if that question's from my father. I think it was after my first show, I paid off my graduate school second year loans. And I remember thinking, oh, I can sell a painting and buy a couch and a TV. This could work. I think there were upsides and downsides to having attention and an opportunity right out of school. It was the height of the art market, and I was 26. And I remember a collector came to my studio who's still one of my closest friends, and he wanted to buy something from my studio, and he ended up buying everything I had done in graduate school, every drawing, every painting, every speck of everything. And you know, it was attention very quickly, but I tried to make sure I continued to develop the work and really separated the commercial aspect and the media aspect from the work aspect. And I think that's one reason I work really hard and try to immerse myself in project after project, because I learned early on that the most important thing is to work and to let the work guide you, and wherever that will take you, to have an open mind.
Okay, another comment. Stunning work, Natalie. I'm so impressed. What do you consider to be the difference between drawing and illustration?
So that's a great question. I think drawings use the text as a starting off point. Illustrations mimic or take direct instruction from what is in the text and perhaps don't move beyond that. So they're illustrating scenes instead of using them as a starting off point for the imagination.
Someone else asks or says, I'm reading, excuse me, the work of art by Adam Moss, where he shares a ton of sketches and ideation from artists, one being Kara Walker. I'm curious, do you keep a sketchbook, or how do you collect your ideas?
I don't keep a sketchbook. I tend to work series by series. And so I take a lot of photographs of people who I feel will make good subjects. I light and dress them. I take hundreds. And that is a sort of sketchbook for me when making paintings. For the drawings, I have really strong synesthesia. So when I read literature, I see an image. And for me, I think what I meant about murder is it's just a matter of translating almost what I'm told to do in my mind. So there's no sketching really necessary, or the sketching is an artifact of the picture, and that it's part of the process of creating the image, because I tend to layer imagery and build out pictures that way. So the sketching is buried somewhere in there, and sometimes it's part of the final product, and sometimes it isn't.
Someone says, I lucked out and saw the Paula Rego show at the National Museum of Women in the Arts in DC. The show was a revelation. Your work is too. Can you share another anecdote of your relationship with her?
Sure. The last time I saw her, before she was really sick enough to take visitors, I went to her studio and I knew it would be the last time that I saw her. And we had lunch. She loved to order, have her assistant go out and get sandwiches from like the Gristedes of London, which I always found humorous. So there were all these packaged sandwiches and cellophane that we would eat in her studio. And she took me into this little room where she kept actually her sketchbooks. And she didn't talk a lot, but she took out her childhood sketchbook from when she was a girl. She was 12, 13. And she started showing me the drawings. And oh, sorry, I get emotional just thinking about it. She took my hand and just held my hand and started flipping through the drawings. And, you know, I knew it would be the last time I was able to spend time with her. But it was a really beautiful moment.
There are several questions that basically pose the same question. Which project or type of project in TV, books, canvas painting, etc., has been your favorite?
Oh, I've enjoyed them all. I mean, they all come with unique challenges. I think when you're collaborating, things often feel like they're on the brink of disaster, which is both has a lot of energy, but can be quite draining and tiring. I think putting the Grimm's book together felt like that, where you really feel like if you don't see it through, it's like, I don't know, having a baby. Like if you don't attend to it, no one else is going to, and it may die. There's a real sense of urgency in those kind of projects. I think the really calm time I have in the studio where it's just me painting or me drawing is wonderful because it punctuates those more frenetic projects. So I really enjoy the totality of everything.
One person mentions your critiquing of a New York Times review of Paula Rego. And this person says, you incisively reveal the misogyny and myopia of viewing Rego's work as anything short of revolutionary. What do you think 21st century art critics tend most often to misunderstand, misrepresent?
Wow. Well, I don't know that I can make a generalization. I can just say in that instance, this reviewer was reviewing Paula Rego's retrospective at the Tate and never mentioned her work as a graphic artist, never mentioned her work in drawing and printmaking. And to my mind, she's one of the finest drafts people that we've had in this century, in the 20th century or the 21st century. So that was an extreme oversight and disservice to her work. And I think not recognizing her work as a feminist artist and talking about her work, you know, her best work being that of her Disney ostriches, felt like a slap in the face to her more political work about abortion and feminism and storytelling. But I think, you know, the art media is shrinking like all media. And a lot of my friends and a lot of people I've painted are art writers. And I think there are a lot of wonderful critics out there, people like Jerry Saltz, who's really popularized and in terms of democratized art criticism and made it accessible. People like Rachel Corbett, Julia Halprin, who are looking at the market, representations of women and artists of color, writing stories. For instance, Rachel wrote about the Wildenstein dynasty. Ben Davis is a great critic. I think there are a lot of wonderful art writers, Andrew Russeth. But like all media, it is shrinking, which is sad.
Well, our last question will be, what advice would you give to your younger self as a woman navigating the art world?
I think to be patient and compassionate with yourself and with others, the importance of building a peer group so that you can kind of come up together and help each other and nurture each other. And it's the people, you know, who I met 20 years ago, who are the people I'm still working with and in dialogue with. And there always will be points, I think, in a career and a life of making art where the people who take chances on you are the kind of the people you remember. And so whether that's Paula Rego or it's Linda Nochlin or Nan Rosenthal or you know, other artists who agree to collaborate with you, even though there's really no need for them to do that. Those are the opportunities and kind of the kindnesses that I think you really remember and that change your life.
Natalie, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Margaret. This has been so fun. And thank you, Linda and Jane.
And thank you, everyone, for being part of this.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for all the great questions. They were wonderful.